Hi, I'm Peter Jensen, co-artistic director here at T. Schreiber Studio. And I want to talk a little bit about the importance of relationship work as an actor and what that really means. Before we even deal with the script, an actor needs to listen. Always listen to that real person across from you and try to make something happen to them when you're talking to them. Try to communicate with them to change them in some way. And if you have that as a constant, you're underway. Now with the text, you analyze it and you see, well, who are these characters and how do I find them? And one of the ways, of course, is through who you are. How do you relate to that character? And do you have relationships in your own life that are like the relationships in this play, which can help you along with your imagination? In terms of that technique, it's tricky because if I have someone who I'm using, let's say I'm using my father and I transfer him onto you, I want to just say, okay, now I feel about him the way I feel about my father, but I have to really see you, not trying to superimpose someone on you. Otherwise, I won't be in the moment with you. I won't see your behavior. I've just adjusted who you are to me, which actors are doing constantly, and that can be a powerful thing. There's another thing that's happening in acting is that the development of the relationship with the other actor is really important. You hear actors saying, generous. He's a generous actor. And what that really means is they are listening to you when you're going through the script. They are there with you. They're not about themselves. They're about the two of you together, even though they may have great conflict. So that's a generosity. But also you're wanting to develop to get to know this person in some way, especially if that's important for the play. A funny story with two actors were working on Dinner with Friends, pretty mature actors, and they brought it in. It's two guys who've known each other for 20 years. And they did a really good scene. We talked about some things that we thought would make it better. They went off and rehearsed it over a week, a couple of times. They brought it back in, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was incredible. It was like I've never seen a scene quite, all the nuance, all the details, and I was like, what did you do in this week? And they kind of looked sheepish, and they said, well, actually, we got together to rehearse, but we just ended up talking about ourselves for about 6 hours and just shared stories and stuff. And I was like, that's kind of brilliant. Though you should rehearse the scene. It's kind of brilliant because what it did was it established such a trust between them that the characters had, and the characters knew about themselves like that. So now these two actors had this connection that really can't be forced. And that's why relationship work, you want to do anything you can to have a relationship, especially long-term relationships. How do you bring that? How do you bring the intimacy of a couple who've been married with an actor you're just meeting? And there's several different ways you can do that. There's some simple exercises where you just sit across from them and maybe you hold the hand or you touch their face. And if you're directed, you say a few things to the other person. So you're just starting to break that ice between the actors, and it can be really, really helpful. I worked with an actor who was auditioning for the Actors Studio, who got in, by the way, and he asked me to play the psychiatrist across from him, and I was kind of like, I don't know if that's such a good idea, but we rehearsed for like 6 months on this 4-minute scene. We did everything, and he's a very intense young man. We did place work, we did all kinds of things, and the relationship between us as characters was adversarial. He was very hostile to me, and I was kind of hostile to him, and so it never occurred to me to do the, touch the face, hold the hands thing, until the very last day. We were upstairs warming up before we went over to the Actors Studio, and I thought, I'm going to feel guilty if I don't do this, because I tell my actors, you must do this no matter what the relationship is. So I go like, okay, let's just do this relationship exercise. We do it. I could feel a complete difference acting across from him, because I realized through that I really cared about him, and that underneath all my anger with him, I loved him and I wanted him to do well, which also was me as the coach while he was acting across from me going, he's doing it. But it was really interesting, and it came from that exercise. So it's a wonderful tool of stepping away from the script to get more connected to the other person.